When you take a sweeping look at the type of people that become criminals, or more accurately murderers, one often finds dysfunction in early life. But while I have sympathy for anyone experiencing difficulties at any stage of life, and I understand that being raised in difficult environments means that people often don't know any better as they grow up. But the fact that the vast majority of people going through these hardships don't become murderous bastards shows that people generally know inherently right from wrong. Some people choose not to care about this differential. Some don't even know there is a differential. And some actively choose the quite literal wrong path. Today's arsehole, as well as being a bargain basement Mr. T, is one of these people. And we'll see if we can work out which route he took to get to arseholeness. Is that a word? I don't know. Two innocent young ladies lost their lives to this selfish cockwomble. So without further ado, let's look at the crimes of Jesse Matthew. This is Murder of Crows. Jesse Matthew Jr. had a rough start to life. As a child, he had a stutter and was saddled with learning difficulties, both of which contributed to occasions of bullying when he was young. The family were very, very poor, and his father was an alcoholic that drifted in and out of his life as he grew up. As he grew up, his father drew him into his duplicitous lifestyle, where the father would take his son along with him to meetings with his mistress, exposing the young man to sexual situations at what was a young age. He grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia, as a member of a large family, and was one of a group of 4 close friends. He was fondly known as LJ, which stood for Little Jesse, since his father was also called Jesse. But as he grew, he found a degree of solace in sport, which was aided by his growth into a pretty sizable dude. But this move into sports may well have been a contributing factor to his later actions in thinking that violent methods produced success. He became a wrestling champion, which is admirable in and of itself, but even more so when you consider his record of 40 wins and no losses, and the fact that he was a state champion. Of course, the key to being successful in high school and college sport, and a potential career in sport beyond college, is choosing the right sport. His sheer size and bulk, along with an agility and speed honed in amateur wrestling, made him a shoo-in for the school's American football teams. So alongside his wrestling, where he won a state championship in his senior year of high school, which was 2000, he was in his high school varsity football team, where he was named as one of the MVPs, or most valuable players, on the team. So it seemed that he did have an aptitude for the old American football. He was awarded a football scholarship to Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, and was well liked and known as something of a gentle giant. But it was here that another side to Matthew became apparent, and it would be a side that repeated itself regularly and was perhaps a portent for escalated and more violent actions in the future. In 2002, Matthew was accused of raping a student. Now, knowing how fiercely educational establishments protect their reputations, I imagine that the powers that be made every effort to smooth things over in terms of avoiding legal repercussions and ramifications, but also ensuring that the victim felt a degree of safety, which to me is a bollocksy cop-out. But the upshot was that Matthew left the university and there were no charges filed against him. At this stage, perhaps if there had been consequences for his actions, Matthew could have learned from his poor choices, but what do I know? A childhood friend of Matthew stated that Jesse Matthew had believed the encounter to be consensual, but how much truth there was to that is open to conjecture. After leaving Liberty University, Matthew was not willing to give up on his dream to possibly make it as a football star. He enrolled in Christopher Newport University in Newport News, Virginia. Here he found a girlfriend called Diana, and it seemed that a new calmness would prevail in Matthew's life. But unfortunately, it was just the calm before the storm, as history repeated, when in 2003 a new assault allegation surfaced, and once again Matthew was given the option of running away rather than facing consequences. So he left Christopher Newport University the same year. Following this second ignominious exit from college, Matthew took on a series of run-of-the-mill jobs in Gaithersburg, Maryland. But in 2005, even outside of the college world that had coddled and protected him, he found behaviour patterns repeating and indeed escalating. In Fairfax, Virginia, a 26-year-old woman was abducted, returning home from a grocery store. She was taken to a grassy area where she was raped. This woman worked with investigators to produce a likeness, and DNA was recovered from the woman, allowing a DNA profile to be developed. Matthew was not apprehended for this attack, but it was around this time that he returned to Charlottesville, Virginia, where his family lived, and in 2007 he applied for and was awarded a permit to work as a taxi driver from the DMV. This is where we leave Jesse Matthew for now, but I think it's safe to say that we've not seen the last of Poundland B.A. Baracus in this story. But first we need to focus on two harrowing disappearances over the next few years, and it will become painfully clear how all of the threads in this story intersect. But for me, this is the best way to look at the lives and experiences of the innocent victims in our story. Now, we need to look at a very pretty young student who had exceptional taste. Morgan Dana Harrington was from Roanoke, Virginia. She was born on July the 24th, 1989. So by 2009, she was 20 years old, and she was attending Virginia Tech. In the October of 2009, she was going to be attending a Metallica concert at the John Paul Jones Arena, which was part of the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. I told you she had exceptional taste. She was wearing a Pantera t-shirt to the show because I don't know if I've mentioned this, but she had exceptional taste. She was attending the show with 3 friends, and after they had driven to the arena and got inside of the venue, Morgan decided during the opening act that she needed the restroom. So she told her friends that she'd be right back and headed for the bathroom. Her friends had no way of knowing that this was to be the last time they would see their beautiful friend Morgan. When some time had passed and Morgan still had not returned, they called her at 8:48 p.m. and Morgan explained that she was outside the arena and the arena had a no re-entry policy. Let me tell you something. I would be fucking furious if this was me. Metallica tickets are not cheap. So if some fucking Jobsworth told me I couldn't go back in for the concert, I would be spitting blood. Completely unacceptable. But I digress. Morgan Harrington found herself outside the arena talking to her friends. And being a kindly, good-hearted soul, she was unwilling to disrupt their evenings. So she said that she would find her own way back home, told them not to worry, and said that she would see them back at home. That would never come to pass. After this interaction, Morgan disappeared. Witnesses in the area would later report to investigators that someone matching her description was seen hitchhiking on a nearby bridge at 9:30 p.m. Other than this sighting and another possible disputed sighting of her with 3 men, no trace of Morgan or any clues to her whereabouts was found. What was found, however, was Morgan's purse, containing her identification and a cell phone with its battery removed. This was found at the RV lot of the University of Virginia's Lanigan Athletic Field. There was little more information in the immediate aftermath of Morgan's disappearance, so the police went public, aided by an appeal released by Metallica frontman James Hetfield.
Hi, I'm James of Metallica. Back in 2010, our band offered $50,000 to help catch the person responsible for murdering Morgan Harrington. Since that time, authorities uncovered new evidence linking her killer to a similar assault on a woman in Virginia. If you've seen the person in this sketch or have any information about this case or any others, please contact your local police or submit your information online. Remember, any information, no matter how small you might think it is, could be that crucial piece investigators need to help solve the case. Right now, there's up to $150,000 reward. If you have any information on this case, please call the number on your screen. Thank you.
In the November of 2009, a Pantera t-shirt was found near an apartment complex around 1.5 miles from the arena, and this was sent for forensic testing. In April of 2010, Forensics confirmed that the t-shirt was indeed Morgan's, and further forensic analyses linked Morgan's disappearance to the 2005 assault in Fairfax, Virginia. In January of 2010, a farmer in a secluded part of the 742-acre Anchorage farm discovered remains in an area around 1.5 miles from any road access, suggesting that the person depositing the remains was pretty familiar with the area. The remains were confirmed as belonging to Morgan Harrington, though police were reluctant to say any more regarding the findings or the autopsy. But Morgan's parents, Dan and Jill Harrington, later revealed that her death was extremely violent, with Morgan having broken bones and having definitely been raped. Sadly, even though the police had a DNA profile, little progress was made in finding the perpetrator. Numerous vigils and events were held, which Morgan's parents attended, and Dan and Jill were central in efforts moving forward to improve student safety. At this point in our story, we jump forward a couple of years to look at 18-year-old student Hannah Graham. The British-born American was born on February the 25th, 1996, to parents John and Sue Graham, and by 2014 she was a zesty University of Virginia student. On September the 13th, 2014, she had been at a party and was heading to a different party, as you do. In text messages exchanged with her friends at around 1:15 a.m, Hannah admitted she was lost and found herself in the area of the downtown mall in Charlottesville, Virginia. Witnesses reported her being drunk and shouting at a man that she would not get into a car with him. The car in question was identified as an orange Chrysler Sebring, which was shown to belong to Jesse Leroy Matthew Jr. Surveillance video would indicate behavior that seemed both ominous and suspicious. While the investigation progressed, around a week after Hannah's disappearance, around 1,000 volunteers took part in a search throughout Charlottesville, and police appealed for residents to check their land and any buildings and outhouses. Unfortunately, no trace of Hannah was found. It would remain this way until human remains were found in an abandoned house in Albemarle County on October the 18th. But it would not be until the 24th of October that the remains were positively identified as belonging to Hannah. The Albemarle County Police Department would say only that her death was homicide by undetermined means. In terms of the investigation, thanks to witness statements and CCTV footage, the police already had a person of interest from the day after Hannah's disappearance, and of course the car that was registered to Jesse Matthew. In order to bring him in as soon as possible to begin questioning him, an arrest warrant was issued for reckless driving by Matthew on the 21st of September, and a search warrant was served on Matthew's apartment on the 22nd of September. But there was still no sign of Jesse Matthew himself. He was eventually tracked down and arrested in a remote part of Galveston County in Texas on the 24th of September. On the 27th of September, forensic testing linked Matthew to Hannah Graham and also to Morgan Harrington's murder in 2009 and the rape and abduction in Fairfax in 2005. Just under a year later, in September of 2015, Matthew was officially charged with first-degree murder and abduction with intent to defile for the Morgan Harrington case. By this time, the Fairfax case was already going through legal proceedings, and Matthew had entered an Alford plea for this in June of 2015. So, taking into account all the different cases, Jesse Matthew received 4 life terms for the Morgan Harrington assault and murder, 4 life terms for the Hannah Graham assault and murder, and 3 life terms for the Fairfax attack. He was originally serving his sentences at the Supermax Red Onion State Prison, but after he was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, he was moved to Sussex State Prison in Waverley in May of 2019 to receive medical treatment. There are a number of other disappearances that can possibly be linked to Jesse Matthew, and police have or are investigating many of these without any definite evidence. These include on July 24th, 2003, a young lady called Autumn Day in Newport News. On September the 7th, 2003, Sophia Rivera, also in Newport News. On August the 26th, 2009, Heidi Childs and David Metzler in Blacksburg. On October the 10th, 2009, Cassandra Morton, not far from Lynchburg. On January the 24th, 2010, Joan Cook from Roanoke County. September the 13th, 2010, Samantha Clark in Orange County. November the 21st, 2011, Lauren Smith in Madison County. November the 20th, 2012, Dashad Sage Smith in Charlottesville. On August the 3rd, 2013, Alexis Murphy in Shipman, whose body has never been found. So that was the story of Jesse Matthew, a gentle giant who was also a serial predator. Because he never faced consequences for his early assaults, his behavior escalated and became more extreme and violent until it reached the inevitable destination of murder. Another man who could not take no for an answer killed at least 2 innocent young ladies and may have killed more. This video is dedicated to Morgan Harrington and Hannah Graham. They were targeted, abducted, and attacked by a predator, and their only issue was being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. This is the Cat King Samson, and I am the human slave Steve, and we will see you when we see you.
Say that you're ready.